Welcome back to CBS Mornings. As students start heading back to the classroom, many will find there are too few teachers to greet them. The country has at least 280,000 fewer teachers than before the pandemic. And listen to this number, 72% of school districts nationwide did not have enough applicants to fill all of their open teaching positions. It's a story we've been following very closely, and joining us now is U.S. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona to bring us up to date. Good to see you, Mr. Secretary. First, is the number as bad as we are hearing that it is, and what's being done to address it?
Yes, good morning, and thanks for having me. Yes, it is. You know, across the country, parents, students, educators are filled with joy to return to school, but in too many cases, there's a shortage of teachers. And we know this to be true. This was true before the pandemic, but it's worse now. That's why we're calling on all educators, all leaders to use the American Rescue Plan dollars to provide incentives to get teachers into the classroom, or bring back retired teachers without any penalty to their benefits. Those are some short-term solutions that we are seeing that's working across the country. We're also seeing long-term solutions like grow your own programs, or high schools creating programs that are connected to colleges to make sure that the students of today are the teachers of tomorrow.
Yeah, but you've also got other problems, Mr. Secretary. It seems that teachers that are on the job, everybody I know either knows a teacher, has a teacher in the family. Tony's mom was a teacher. My sister's a teacher.
My wife was a teacher.
Nate's wife was a teacher. And all the teachers talk about burnout. The burnout levels are off the charts.
Yeah.
What do you think needs to be done to address that or change that?
Of course. Look, if we're serious about addressing the teacher shortage issue, we must address the teacher respect issue. And what that means is providing competitive salaries. That means improving working conditions for teachers across the country and listening, right? Including their voice in this reimagining of schools. Working conditions do matter, as do competitive salaries. It's sad. We have teachers who have a master's degree that have to drive Uber on the weekends to make ends meet. That's unacceptable in the United States.
Mr. Secretary, the present and the future of America depends on public education. That's been true for a long time. It'll continue to be true. Are you worried when you hear that there are schools in Missouri and other states that are relying on military veterans who don't have a teaching degree, other schools dropping down to 4 days a week for funding and staffing reasons? Are you concerned that that could damage this important part of the future of the country?
I'm very concerned that we are not addressing this the way we know it should be addressed. As I mentioned before, competitive salaries, better working conditions, and teacher voice. We have the tools. This year, thanks to the American Rescue Plan dollars, we have funding available to support this. But we also need states and local districts to think about how they're funding education and increase funding with the same level of urgency that the president did.
Mr. Secretary, speaking of money, the student loan pause is ending at the end of the month. Will the White House extend it?
Yes, it is scheduled to end at the end of this month. While I don't have an announcement here today, I will tell you that we're having conversations daily with the White House, and borrowers will know directly and soon from us when a decision is made.
What's the holdup, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, you know, again, I can't get into the conversations that we're having daily, but I will tell you that from day one, the president has been very clear about making sure we're leading with students first, right? And we've been proud of the $28 billion in loan forgiveness up to this point, and the policies that we've changed to fix a broken system. So we recognize Americans are waiting on that, and we're going to be communicating with them as soon as we can.
Can I ask you about teacher salaries again? Because everybody always says teachers need to make more money, they should be paid. I don't know anybody who disagrees with you, but that never changes. So what is it going to take for teachers to make more money in this country? Who do we need to tell? Who do you need to call? What do we need to do?
Look, remember during the Omicron surge where our schools were closed because our educators had to quarantine?
Yes.
Remember the disruption that caused across our communities, across our country. Let's not go there again. We're at the doorstep of a crisis. And if we're not taking this seriously, and if that wasn't a warning that we need to really lift the profession and pay them competitive salaries, especially when the job market is what it is, then we're missing an opportunity here. So,
but who
to
makes
all the
that
governors,
decision?
to all the
Who makes
mayors,
that decision?
Well, state education funding, right? State education funding is the place to start. The federal government makes up about 10% of education funding in general. Look at the increases that we put in it, not only with ARP, but in our yearly budget. I want the same level of urgency from governors and from county and city leaders across the country.
Yeah. It's not only pay either, it's freedom to teach. A lot of teachers feel that they are in these very narrow lanes, being watched very closely, and it's a dangerous profession to be a part of. That's part of a longer conversation, though. Secretary Cardona, thank you very much.